Hi guys, happy Saturday. I am making this video to talk with you about qualitative versus quantitative data and classifying your data. So today I'm going to start with qualitative data. So as you can see behind me on my board, I've written down a couple of things. Qualitative data, labels, and non-numerical entries that can be separated into categories is qualitative data. And in the real world, we see qualitative data a lot when we're doing interviews with individuals and we're kind of classifying what they're saying. We wonder how many people like a certain color, and we class things up by those colors. That would be qualitative data. Qualitative data is categorical data, and it's difficult to find statistical numbers when we're talking about qualitative data, although we can classify it up and get an overall picture of how people see the categories or what is involved in the categories. Quantitative data is numbers that represent counts or measurements, okay? And that's really what we're working with when we're working with statistics. We're finding medians, means, modes, standard deviations. We're really crunching those numbers and trying to come up with meaning from the numbers that we gather to help us make inferences and decisions with that data. So I've got a few graphs up here that represent ways that qualitative data is often represented, so we can get an overarching picture and displaying data and communicating reasoning regarding that. And we often use bar graphs to class up the categorical data and represent it, or circle graphs. We talked about that during those segments. And then quantitative data, we can often use histograms, we can use box and whisker plots or graphs, we can use scatter plots. All of those representations will help us to draw a picture of what the data is telling us with regard to frequency of those numbers showing up in our data. So what I want to do right now is I want to take a minute and take a look at the examples that we have. So in our core concept page, which is now up on your screen, we have classifying data examples. So the first example, A, is prices of used cars at a dealership. And so if we want to think about that, prices are numerical, they're numbers. And we can crunch those numbers and find out what a median price on a vehicle is, or maybe a median price on a certain type of vehicle, or maybe make comparisons between car dealers on an average price of a pickup and the standard deviation from those prices. So we can use that quantitative data to help us draw a picture of what's going on in the market. B is another example. So jersey numbers on a basketball team. So while jersey numbers are numerical, they are really labels. So they're not really telling us any data, right? They're just labels that people are wearing. So it doesn't make sense to really compare them. You can't really measure them. So the data is qualitative if you're looking at it like that. Now, if you wanted to survey all of the NBA teams and see how many of those teams had the label or the number 00, you could quantify that information. And so that would be looking at it from a different perspective. And you could call that quantifiable information or data. C, lengths of songs played at a concert. So song lengths are a numerical measurement, okay? And that data is quantitative. So we can make calculations on that data and draw inferences and frequencies from that. Zodiac signs of students in your class. So zodiac signs are non-numerical entries. They can be separated into different categories. That's qualitative information, right? So we might know how many students are in each zodiac sign or in each category, but we can't really draw any sort of quantifiable information from that. We can draw an overarching picture. Okay, I hope this helped. And you're going to be using this data classification as you move forward with an analysis and representation of the data from our community survey. Okay, bye.